This year, Harvey Weinstein will embark on perhaps the most ambitious Oscar campaign of his Oscar campaign-defined career, with The Artist. Can Harvey get the Academy and audiences excited about a black and white film from France that's entirely silent? While many people today shudder at the thought of sitting through merely a black and white film, this is the format in which movies first rose to popularity, minus the French angle. This makes The Artist almost a challenge to moviegoers to see if they can commit an hour and 40 minutes of their time to experience what it was like to go to the movies when it all began. I say we take this challenge head on, and as your movie-going coach here on Beyond the Trailer, I'm going to help you train. So here's my suggested regimen of movies to check out before seeing The Artist. First up, let's familiarize ourselves with the era that's being depicted, and that's when silent films were replaced by the talkies. And that just happens to be the subject of one of the most famous movies ever made, Singin' in the Rain. Gene Kelly's tour de force, like The Artist, tells the behind-the-scenes story of a silent film star trying to transition to this new medium, only in color and not just sound, but featuring several of the most iconic musical numbers ever to be staged on film. For a much darker take on what the talkies did to Hollywood, look no further than Sunset Boulevard. Gloria Swanson, a silent movie star in real life, plays Norma Desmond, an actress pushed out of the spotlight and driven mad by the darkness. William Holden co-stars as a screenwriter drawn into her web, and interestingly, this film is one of the two most famous film noirs of all time, both of which are from one of the most famous comedy directors of all time, Billy Wilder. You might also want to check out Mommy Dearest, another film which shows how an actor's personal and professional life are so intertwined that disaster in one ensures disaster in the other. Yes, Joan Crawford tried to have it all, but when everything seemed to be slipping through her fingers, the resulting stress created one of the most sensational real-life melodramas of all time. But what of that period itself when the talkies began to take over? Well, those movies were made almost a century ago. Thanks to technology's ever-expanding footprint, you can actually get them on Netflix. Like The Jazz Singer, the very first full-length film to feature synchronized dialogue, aka a talkie. It's the story of a young man torn between showbiz and his Jewish heritage, and that young man is played by Al Jolson, himself a popular Jewish entertainer at the time. Now, on a side note, Jolson was famous for his blackface numbers, and they feature prominently in the movie. So while it's quite offensive and shameful to watch such a performance today, remember that back in 1927 it was the norm, and Jolson actually had a very good relationship with the black community, working hard behind the scenes for racial equality both on Broadway and in Hollywood. Now, while Jolson was the first star of the talkies, what of the silent film stars like the one portrayed in The Artist? After all, as The Artist is a silent film, it's not only telling those actors' story, but is an ode to silent films themselves. One of the biggest silent stars was Douglas Fairbanks, and many of his silent films are available on Netflix, such as The Mark of Zorro, The Three Musketeers, and Robin Hood. And another great silent film star was Rudolph Valentino, one of the earliest actors to tragically die young, living on forever in the hearts of his fans. Valentino's greatest works are also available on Netflix, such as The Sheik. You can also watch Beyond the Rocks, which, while not a huge hit, co-stars Gloria Swanson from Sunset Boulevard. Finally, it looks like The Artist, Jean Dujardin, will be coming to Hollywood soon, as he won the Best Actor award at Cannes for the film and will likely get an Oscar nomination, if not a win as well. To get the jump on the Dujardin bandwagon, check out the franchise that paved the way for The Artist, OSS 117, aka France's hybrid between Inspector Clouseau and Austin Powers. So while you're welcome to check out all of these movies, here's the official BTT countdown for The Artist. Number 1 is Singin' in the Rain, because it not only covers the same subject material, but is a movie that, if you're serious about movies, you should see. The same goes for number 2, Sunset Boulevard, which is also about the same subject matter and is also one of those movies you really should see. Number 3, The Jazz Singer, a game changer for Hollywood and arguably one of the most important movies ever made. Then at number 4, check out The Mark of Zorro to get the feel for the silent film era as well as its stars. In fact, The Artist Jean Dujardin seems to be channeling Douglas Fairbanks. Finally, for number 5, get to know Jean Dujardin with the first OSS 117 movie, Cairo Nest of Spies. And there you have it, 5 movies that will get you in the perfect movie-going shape to experience The Artist. Enjoy.